All right, week 4. So the good news this week is that we do not have a test. Now that we've reached this point in the semester, because the summer is kind of short, it's basically going to be every other week you'll have a test. So we had one last week, none this week. Next week will be exam 2. All right. You need to watch the chapter 4 and 5 lecture videos. So those are both on the cell. Chapter 4 is talking about cell structure. So you're going to learn about the organelles, the parts inside of our cells. And chapter 5 is on the cell membrane. That's the outside layer of the cell, and that outside layer lets things pass back and forth. So we're going to talk about things like diffusion and osmosis and how like nutrients and water can move in and out of our cells. All right. So watch both of those lectures. You have a review quiz, which is going to be due Sunday, June 27th. So just make sure you take that after you watch the lecture videos. Remember, you can use your notes. That's okay to use your notes during the review quizzes. You just can't use anything during the tests. All right. Lab 3 is on cells as well. So it's on prokaryotes and eukaryotes. You're going to look at the different parts of prokaryotes. Those are like bacteria that don't have a nucleus. And then you'll look at the parts of eukaryotes, which are things that do have a nucleus. All right. It's always a good idea to do the labs early in the week. That way you're not cramming Sunday night to get everything done. But if you do it early, I would try to watch lecture 4, chapter 4 lecture first, because that's going to be a lot of the information that you're going to need to know for this lab. We're going to cover in chapter 4 lecture. All right. So do it however you want to for your schedule. But if it were me, I would watch the chapter 4 lecture video, then start on the lab. And then after you've done that, you can do chapter 5. All right. You don't have to have any equipment this time. Everything you need is going to be in your lab kit. I don't even think there's lab material that you use this time. This is all going to be done on the computer, like on SI Cloud on the website. All right. So you don't have to make any special trips to the grocery store or anything like that before this one. Okay. And it recommends to give yourself about 3 hours for this lab. That's a good rule of thumb. It might not take you that long, but if you've set aside that much time, you should be able to get it finished. All right. So finally, last thing, just a heads up that exam 2 is next week. So that's going to be due. It's going to be open Monday and Tuesday, so June the 28th and 29th. So just make sure you're preparing for that. We watched chapter 3, or you should have watched chapter 3 last week. That was on organic chemistry, and then 4 and 5 this week. So just 3 chapters. That's the good news, 3, 4, and 5 for exam 2. But just this is not to scare you or stress you out, but just kind of like a word of warning is that normally, not always, but normally exam 2, when I look at class average grades, exam 2 tends to be a little bit tougher than the other exams in this class. So the only reason I'm even bringing that up is make sure you don't skimp when you're studying for exam 2. Make sure you really focus on that, really study. And if you have any questions about anything, send me a message, let me know. All right, like this week, if you're going over the chapter 4 lecture and something just doesn't make sense, send me a Blackboard message and I'll be glad to try to explain it better or answer any questions you have. Okay, so that's it for this week. If you have any questions or if you need anything, let me know. Thanks.